Okay, let's talk about something that, well, a lot of us dog owners have secretly dealt with. It's a habit that is confusing, it's frustrating, and let's just be honest, it's pretty darn gross. But stick with me because by the end of this, you're going to have a much clearer picture of what's really going on with your dog.
You know the moment, that split second of pure horror when you look out in the yard and see your furry best friend eating something they absolutely should not be eating. Your stomach just drops, right? And you're probably thinking, what is happening? Why is my wonderful dog doing that?
Well, first things first, take a deep breath. If this has happened to you, I promise you are not alone, not by a long shot. This is a surprisingly common behavior in the dog world, and we're going to break down why it happens and, more importantly, what you can actually do about it.
So, yes, we're talking about poop eating. It's a habit that can really test the bond we have with our pets and just leave us feeling totally confused. So, let's dive right into it.
I think the first question that flies into every owner's head is this normal? And the answer is kind of complicated. Sometimes, yeah, it can be, but other times it can be a little flag that something else is going on. First, let's give it its proper name.
The technical term for this is Coprophagia. It's a mouthful, I know. It comes from the Greek words kopros for feces and phagein, which means to eat. So now you've got a fancy word for it, but that doesn't really make it any less gross when you see it in action.
And just how common are we talking? Well, the numbers might actually blow you away. Studies have found that about 1 in every 4 dogs has been caught doing this at least one time. And get this, about 1 in 6 dogs are considered serious repeat offenders. So while it's definitely not pleasant for us, it is far from rare in the dog world.
So when is it considered normal? Well, for a brand new mother dog, cleaning up after her pups by eating their waste is a totally normal, hardwired instinct to keep the den clean and predators away. And for puppies, they explore the whole world with their mouths, so it's often just a phase that, thankfully, they usually grow out of by about 9 months old. But when we see it in our adult dogs, that's our cue to start asking some questions.
So for that adult dog, what is going on? What's the reason? It's usually not just one thing. The causes tend to fall into 2 big buckets: behavioral reasons and medical reasons.
Let's start with the behavioral side. A big one, believe it or not, is just plain old boredom. If a dog doesn't have enough to do, they'll find their own entertainment. And sometimes it's this. Stress and anxiety can also be triggers, especially if they're cooped up too long or there's a big change at home. Some clever dogs even figure out that this is a surefire way to get a huge reaction out of you. And to a bored dog, any attention is good attention. And yep, they can even pick up this lovely habit from another dog in the house.
Now, it's less common, but we always have to rule out medical issues. Anything that stops the body from absorbing nutrients properly could be a cause. Some diseases that make a dog ravenously hungry, like diabetes or Cushing's disease, might also lead to it. And sometimes it could be a sign of intestinal parasites or a dietary deficiency, though that's less of a concern with the high-quality commercial dog foods we have today.
But here's where it gets really fascinating. There's a theory that this behavior isn't some weird flaw at all. Instead, it might be a leftover instinct from their ancient wolf ancestors, a kind of hardwired program for keeping the pack healthy.
The thinking goes like this. Many parasite eggs aren't infectious the second they come out. They need a day or 2 to develop. So, by eating fresh poop, a wolf would basically be acting as a den cleaner, getting rid of those parasite eggs before they could become a danger to the rest of the pack. And this actually lines up with what we see. The vast majority of dogs who do this prefer stools that are less than 2 days old.
Okay, so if you're living with this behavior, what's your first move? It's always a trip to your vet. It's so important to rule out any medical causes before you just assume it's behavioral. And please, don't be embarrassed. Trust me, your vet has heard it all before.
Your vet's going to be very methodical. We'll start with a good chat, a thorough history. What's your dog eating? What's their daily life like? When did this start? Then a nose-to-tail physical exam. And if anything seems a little off, we might suggest a few simple tests, like checking a stool sample for parasites or running some blood work just to make sure everything's okay on the inside.
So, once we've given your dog a clean bill of health, the focus shifts to management. And I'm using that word management very intentionally. This is all about building a toolkit of strategies, because there's rarely a single magic cure for this.
The absolute foundation of any plan is what we call environmental management. It's actually super simple. If the poop isn't there, they can't eat it. This means you've got to become the fastest pooper scooper in the West. Be vigilant about cleaning the yard immediately. Supervise your dog when they're outside. And if you have cats, you've got to make that litter box totally off limits. The goal here is just to remove the opportunity.
At the same time, we work on training and enrichment. Teaching a rock-solid leave-it command is a game changer. But the key is to make ignoring the poop way more rewarding than eating it. We're talking super high-value treats for making the right choice. And this is also where we fight that boredom we talked about. More walks, more fetch, and awesome puzzle toys to keep their brain working.
Now look at this, because this is so important for setting our expectations. A big study looked at what actually works, and the results are pretty eye-opening. Punishing the dog? Almost zero success, and it can actually make them more anxious. Those powder additives you sprinkle on food to make poop taste bad? A success rate of maybe 1 to 2%? Even a really good leave it command isn't foolproof. This is why our focus has to be on consistent management, not a quick fix.
All right, we've gone from ancient wolves all the way to modern training plans. Let's pull it all together for the single most important takeaway from all of this. So after everything we've talked about, what is the #1 thing you should walk away with?
It's this. Focus on management, not magic. This is often a deeply rooted behavior. Real success comes from being consistent with your supervision, your cleanup, and your positive training, not from some magical pill or powder that will make it all go away overnight.
And finally, it's so important to remember that this information is for educational purposes and is not a substitute for professional veterinary advice.
If you have any concerns at all about your pet's health, the best thing you can do is consult with your certified veterinarian.
They are your #1 partner and your best resource for making sure your companion lives a long, happy, and healthy life.